Hey everyone, this is Olay from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. Welcome one, welcome all to our latest episode of LYS Free Student Mentoring. As always, I am Olay Sharunki. So glad to be with you this wonderful Sunday. So honored as always to also have my good friend Jamar Crawford on with us. Jamar, how you doing today?
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Festus is normally here. Festus is not going to be here on this episode today. He had some stuff he had to take care of. So we're going to jump in and continue on what we were talking about last week. But before then, Daniel just popped in. Daniel, how's it going?
Wonderful, bro. And y'all, how y'all doing today?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good.
Good.
So yes, we also have a guest with us, Tendai. Tendai, how you doing today? Oh, you're muted. You can unmute.
Doing good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. So we kind of discussed earlier, a little bit earlier, about what you were trying to do, what you were discussing with your students. Go ahead and tell us again what you're trying to get going as far as scholarships and things like that for your sons.
Yeah, just trying to get going, setting up some templates for the essays that we're going to use, or as a starting point for each scholarship application. We have, a whole listing of available scholarships, and we're, looking just to get some ideas in terms of some things to focus on or put emphasis on while drafting those scholarship templates. And then one other thing I may have not mentioned earlier, is your thoughts on, a lot of applications require referrals. So we were planning on, because we're going to be applying to so many scholarships, it's going to be hard to go to, there's a limited group of people you can get referrals from. So we were just planning on perhaps drafting the referral and then at least sending it to the person we're asking for a referral and get them to tweak it as they see necessary, then send it back. But just to make it easier for those people who are providing referrals, because they're also busy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an awesome idea. I think it's an awesome plan. Crawford Hill, we don't really talk about this much. What do you guys, I want to get you guys input on that. What are your thoughts on the mentor? Sorry, on the reference, on that reference, kind of just having like a template and just sending it out to the different references and having them edit it out as they see fit?
I think that's a good idea, because a lot of times when we do get a request for referral, some people don't have their own template. Some people do have that and they're already prepared, but it makes it easier on the person that you are requesting it from, so they can just go ahead and fill in the parts that they needed, and like you said, if so, tweak specific information. I feel like that'd be the best way to get a quick response.
Yeah, okay. Great, thank you.
Yeah, man, the same thing, man. Yeah.
Right, thanks, guys.
I'm actually, yeah, definitely. I think that's awesome. I'm actually looking on our website, and it's so funny. I just realized that there was something that we definitely should be advertising that I failed to put on our intro slides that we have here. But the first thing I'm going to recommend, Tendai, is actually going to be this right here. If you go to and I'm going to let this load here. Just give it a quick second. All right. Can you see this? Can everyone see this screen right here?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I would recommend is if you just go to ladderingyoursuccess.com/students, there is the free ebook that we have. And so it's called 10 Things to Think About Before Going to College, selecting your education experience. Okay. So
yes,
that is a free, awesome resource to use to ask really important, tough, insightful questions to make sure that, we're even going about the right way, right? So, and that's the first thing I would recommend. The second thing is right here. That's going to be the LYS Scholarship Guidebook. So this is the go-to resource for any high school student who's planning to go to college or who is seeking financial assistance. So it talks about kind of a lot of the things you talked about as far as writing those letters and the templates, because from what I remember when we did the book, that's one of the things Festus definitely talked about was having like templates based off of different things that they were asking for in the scholarship, in the essays, I'm sorry, that they were asking about in the essays. So having different templates, I think is definitely necessary. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this. I think one of the things that can be of benefit, I think, always have to think from the lens of Festus. And I think we would say the same thing. There's good and bad to it. You know, me, Daniel, and Crawford have been talking about this, the introduction or the push for AI and a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
Chat GPTs, right?
Yeah.
Very popular right now. I do think if used properly, if used with wisdom, if used with good intentions, it can be very, very, very beneficial, right? Because when you're going out there and you're sending out these college essays or you're filling out these scholarship applications, there's so many different things you can apply to. It can be it can be a very daunting task. And right. And so I think the introduction of some of these AI tools will definitely help with that. And I'm a firm believer of teaching kids about these things early on, because this is their future anyway. So the sooner they know about it, the sooner they can understand how that system works, and then they can use it for their benefit. And they can also use it to help others and teach others.
Yeah.
So in those two aspects, those would be my two main recommendations. That ebook for your students, go through the 10 things you need to know about college, and getting that scholarship ebook guide. And so what I'm going to also do is I'll let Festus know that you came on. Well, he'll see it, but
yeah, he knows. I told him already.
Okay. And so we're meeting up together today. And so if you I'll put my email here. Oh, okay. So you can either text him or you can just send me an email.
Okay.
We'll meet today and we will go over some things. And by tonight, I'll send you an email back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With what we get with that.
Okay, let me write that down here.
Okay. Sure. So do they have any idea of where they want to go and what they want to major in?
Yeah, one knows, yes. The older one has an idea of what he wants to do. So I've gone through your YouTube videos and watched those. So we got some very helpful information from the Bureau of Statistics, the Labor Bureau. So we shared it with them, and he wants to go into math. He's very strong in math. So he's looking at a career in math, and I'd recommend actuarial scientist, actuary. And then there are others we had not thought about that we saw there, like data scientists and things of that nature. So he's starting to think about those, but he wants to stay local. He doesn't want to go too far. So, here we live in Houston, so it's either going to be U of H or Rice, depending, of course, on the funding.
Absolutely.
And and then he's also considering Prairie View A&M.
Okay.
Just because he has a connection with the Disney Dreamers Academy.
Okay.
So they're very big on sponsoring HBCU, kids interested in going to HBCUs. So, yeah.
That is awesome. I'm just excited because it's not every day that you hear my son is very interested in math. And usually I know our students, Crawford knows, Hill knows, we're fifth grade teachers, and we were going over composite figures. One day they had a good day. The next day, it was rough. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was about to walk out of there.
Wow.
but it's okay. But it's just awesome to hear that, he's found that early, right? That's his thing. And so he wants to run with that. That's awesome. I'm just taking some notes here.
Okay. Yeah, he's tutoring elementary schools with math as well. school
He-
kids with math.
He's
and
tutoring
math.
with that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he likes that quite a bit.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, and what about your other son?
Oh, he's 2 years younger. He's 15, so
Okay.
he
Sweet.
has not made too much of a decision. He probably wants to do mechanical engineering
Okay.
or electrical engineering, but
We
he
need
still,
those.
he wants to do something with his hands, so those are the best fields to get into college wise, if it's even if it's necessary to do that.
Okay.
It might be trade school for him. We'll see.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this as well. We're in the process of starting our first cohort of students to get going, to our first little group of students to actually go through the LYS program. And so it sounds like your younger son may be a wonderful candidate for that. I think I'll let Festus know about that as well, and we can discuss that because it's something we're really, really excited about to get that going.
Okay.
And just to track their trajectory and
I see.
see where they were before and see where they are on the outside end. So
Okay.
I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Sure. Thanks.
Absolutely. So like I said, yes, we're going to send out that email.
Appreciate it.
I'll send that email tonight, and whatever information I get from Festus, I'll be sure to send that out to you.
Okay. I'm just gonna make sure right now I'm just gonna type out your email again. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, when you type it out, can you just send me a quick email so I have yours, so I'll know where to send it to?
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and let's go through how you can get in contact with us here at Laddering Your Success. On Instagram, LYS Students and BNoDo_LYS. On Facebook, Laddering Your Success, just type in Laddering Your Success into that search bar. Make sure you like and follow us so you can get access to this mentoring session and all of our other content that we have there. On YouTube, same thing, just type in Laddering Your Success into that search bar. You'll get access to those videos. For those of you who just heard Tendai said he went on to the YouTube channel, he was able to watch some of those videos and get some really, really good information there. So be sure to like our video, subscribe. On TikTok, LYS BNoDo. If you want to send us an email, if you're interested in having us come talk to your youth group, church group, students at your school, high school, middle school, just send an email to info@ladderingyoursuccess.com. On Discord, just type in Laddering Your Success into that search bar. And if you love what we're doing, if you want to support us so we can continue to grow, to continue to help young people, adults find their purpose in life and make this world a better place, on Cash App, $Laddering Your Success. And of course, for districts, educators, counselors, principals, teachers, save time with the LYS Plan and Assignments app, where you can quickly create dynamic, rich, and engaging accommodated lessons and assignments for your students. Saves 10 to 30% of the time on lesson planning. There's character building built into every lesson, and there's complete standard aligned lessons created by expert teachers. Recently I was watching, I was watching some videos and I was reading some stuff about some homeschool trends. Some trends not so good. I'm not sure if you heard there was a homeschooling platform out there that had like fascist and neo-Nazi type of stuff there. And I was like, that's definitely not what we're trying to do. But I did hear that there is an increase in families that are doing more homeschooling. And if you need a base to get going on it, the LYS Lesson Plan and Assignments app is perfect. It's perfect for it. And of course, we have the book that started it all, Laddering Your Success, which you can buy now on Lulu. You can also purchase it on Amazon. We have the LYS Stepping Up College and Career Checklist that you can also purchase. That can be purchased on ladderingyoursuccess.com. A Parent's Guide to Student Success. You can buy that on ladderingyoursuccess.com. And 10 things to think about before going to college. You don't have to purchase that on ladderingyoursuccess.com because that is free. That's a free ebook that we have. So anyone can just go on there into the our website, ladderingyoursuccess.com. I believe it should be, I know for sure it's under /students. So I would say lys.com/students, or just when you get to the website, just scroll down to where it says students. I'm a student, and then you can download that. LYS, lighting your success. Make sure you start your climb. All right. So last week we started a new topic. I felt like a teacher. I was going to say, this is our new unit. How can we create a community for change? And we had several different points that we listed here, and some different solutions, problems and solutions and questions that we were going through. So the first thing we did is we laid out what a community is. It seems that in 2023, some places get it, some places we're still trying to learn and figure it out. And so we just want to put this into, steps that we're talking about, but hopefully we can also turn this into actionable steps. All right. So we talked about what a community is. We said a community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. We said it's a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. We talked about where the word came from, kind of the origins of the word. We talked about the different types of communities. And we asked a really good question here. This is kind of the underlying question. How do we build better communities for our children? One of the first things we talked about was involving parents and caregivers. And then we discussed a tough question. The question that we asked last week was, how can we fix families with single parents and divorce? How can we fix families that are dealing with single parent households and divorce? Now, I'm not sure if we talked about encouraging positive interactions, but I think we did. Crawford, Hill, do y'all remember, did we talk about encouraging positive interactions?
Yes, we did.
I feel like we did, right? Okay, good. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. That's a tough question. All right, so let's go with 3. Foster a sense of belonging, right? Children's well-being depends on having a sense of belonging. By giving kids the chance to participate in decision-making and by highlighting and applauding their community contributions, you can ensure that kids feel included and valued. So I'll leave that open for all of us. How important is that? How important is creating that sense of belonging? Do you feel like students have that sense of belonging? Do you feel like it's there? Do you feel like it's missing? How do we feel about that sense of belonging?
Well, I guess it just depends on what each student really sees as a sense of belonging, because everybody has their own views these days. So it's like feeling like they welcome, or feeling like they're different, or feeling like they should try to fit in, or like just the way they are, period. You know what I'm saying? Because like some kids might be welcomed every day, but don't feel like they welcomed, even though you hugging them, giving them fist bumps. Well, I'm not hugging them, you hugging them. I even give them hugs, fist bumps, to talk to them, sit down, and they still might not feel like they belong because there's something different about them. So I guess that's what my question is.
I think that this sense of belonging, from my opinion, is definitely needed. I think there's a lack of, especially with, if I try to go back into the mindset of being, a preteen, trying to fit in whatever that may be and whatever that may look like to that particular generation. And I feel like us as adults and as a community, we can do a better job at trying to foster positive interactions between each other, because I know, depending where our kids are from, we don't want them to be products of their environment.
No, absolutely. I agree with both of those. I think y'all both kind of took what I was thinking about. I think one of the things that kids really need is they still need someone to like just sit down and talk with them. A lot of kids don't have that person. Kids have so many thoughts in their mind. They don't have a platform. They don't have an avenue to just spit out their ideas and have someone wise to explain it to them. That's what I noticed with a lot of my students. They're so intuitive. They're so smart. They have so many great ideas, but they just don't have that pastel or whatever they call it, that great big wall to just like put whatever they're thinking out there. And I think when given that opportunity, that is so true. That's a wonderful way to build community. Tendai, I know you were talking about the scholarships, but you don't have to. I just wanted to get your feedback. I know with your boys, you may have noticed something throughout their lives. If you've noticed anything about that, you can just throw it in there. You need to say it, you can type it. It's okay.
Okay. No, yeah, as far as community, I mean, my observation has been, it starts in the home, taking care of each other. And then a lot of what you do in the home, you do outside of the home. And then, teaching our kids to build relationships, is important. Build healthy relationships is very important. We homeschool our kids. They've been homeschooled since they were 3. So, one of the concerns we hear a lot when we tell people about homeschooling is socialization, and what's one thing we work on in terms of, if they're playing basketball, for boys, sport is a way to build community, and when you get there, it's up to us as parents to also build that community with the parents of the children on the team. And then we're all looking out for each other's kids, like but I think it's intentional. It's not as easy as it was when I was growing up, when our parents would let us, we could leave home. I could leave home at 9:00 in the morning in the summer. As long as I was back in home in time for dinner, I was fine because we knew most of the people in our neighborhood. So, I mean, but it's changed now because we're more of a transient society. So, we don't have the luxury of saying, kids, just go out and hang out and, we'll see you when you get back home. So I think a lot of it is intentional, and it's wherever you're at, you build your community, whether it's sports, whether it's church, whether it's school. Our kids do part-time school, and one of them is doing community college. He's been going for the last 2 years. So that's where you build your community where you're at. So that was all. Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful point. And you mentioned something I was just thinking about from our earlier conversation. Have you started to look into AP credit? And I can't remember. Festus is gonna he's gonna hit me over the head. There's
AP dual credit.
AP dual credit, and there's also basically paying, I can't remember what it's called, but it's paying a fee, just paying a rather small fee, and then just testing out of a particular.
CLEPing.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that's,
CLEPing out.
Yeah.
We haven't looked into CLEPing, but our oldest has been doing AP dual credit with HCC. So I think right now he has about 18 credit hours that he's accumulated over the last couple of years.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, add that to my notes. Wonderful, wonderful. Boy out there killing it, man. Wonderful.
Thank
All right, absolutely. Let's go into our next. We got 2 points here. I'm gonna wait for it to load here real quick. Those next 2 points are promote safety and well-being and provide opportunities for learning and growth. All right. So when it comes to safety and well-being, children's well-being depends on having a sense of belonging. By giving kids the chance to participate in decision-making and by highlighting and applauding their community contributions, you can ensure that kids feel included and valued. When it comes to providing opportunities for learning and growth, children naturally want to learn new things and develop their skills. Give kids the chance to learn new things and gain new skills by giving them access to mentorship opportunities, after-school programs, and educational resources. And so I think this is a great segue because, I was actually talking with Crawford and Hill and Festus about this. ALEAF has recently did a master rebuild of the ALEAF Community Center. And my parents have been like just raving about it. I was telling the guys that like I think last week or for the last 2 weeks, they've been there like every day, just like doing different things, like either working out or just going outside for walks, just really, really enjoying it. And so I finally went, and I was just blown away. I almost did not want to leave. I think the only thing that made me leave was the fact that it was so cold and I had to get home. But when you talk about providing opportunities for learning and growth, I think that's a wonderful. I think things like that are definitely needed. And so let's start off with promoting safety and well-being, because that is very big in the grand scheme of things. Safety and well-being go so far these days. And, it said children's well-being depends on having a sense of belonging, giving them the chance to make their own decisions, and highlighting and applauding their community contributions. You can ensure that kids feel included and valued, which is actually sounds very similar to the one we talked about before. But when I think about promoting safety and well-being, I think about like in their general environment, their general area as well. That kind of comes to my mind. But I'm gonna do like before, either point 4 or point 5. Let's talk about promoting safety and well-being, and what does that look like to you, and what are some of the things you notice that may be a buffer to having these things take place. Hey LYS fam, it's Olay. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that even though the cost of college can be daunting, the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook can assist you in realizing your dreams. You can identify and apply for scholarships using the information, advice, and resources in our comprehensive guide. Also, we've provided a template for a successful scholarship essay to help you stand out from the crowd. Don't allow student loan debt to control you. Get your copy of the LYS Scholarship Guide ebook right away to take charge of your destiny. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to that fire conversation.
The first thing that came to my mind is when I was thinking about when Tendai, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Tendai? Is that how you say it?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's
Tendai.
correct.
When Tendai was sharing his experience with his 2 boys, and he shared that he was homeschooling, the first thing that came to my mind was that safety and well-being, because as a public school teacher, I'm definitely seeing the difficulty for me to even promote safety, because there's so many contributing factors outside of my classroom that affects what's going on within the school building and the interaction with other kids. And it's getting to the point to where me trying to be that positive influence and teaching them how to have conflict resolution skills, I'm only one person, whereas the outside contributing factors are multifaceted, and it seems as though they hold a bigger weight over my 10 to 5 minute lecture on the best ways of solving issues. And so when Tendai was talking about him homeschooling his 2 boys, I'm like, dang, that's one thing that as a father, he can provide that safety and have control to a certain extent to provide them with this positive, loving experience of feeling safe while they're learning. While looking at these other students, they're learning, but then they got to worry about what this kid is going to do when they get into the hallway, or when they get into the cafeteria, when they go to PE, or when they ride the bus. And it actually like makes me sad. I don't share this with the kids, but it makes me sad because there's things that are out of my control that I can't do to make these kids feel safe outside of my close proximity.
Man, you said a word. You said a word, man. Man, I felt it.
Man, but at the same time, I don't want to say homeschooling is the answer, because I'll be out of a job.
No, it teaches the world needs you a lot, because not every parent is made for homeschooling, as we saw during the pandemic.
But I applaud you, my brother. I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
No, that is so true. I think Tendai definitely brought something up. I mean, during the pandemic, we definitely saw that a lot of homes had a lot of work to do, and I think teachers definitely took the brunt of that, because a lot of the things that we have always thought to be responsibility of the parents were kind of looking at us like, hey, you're not doing this. It's like, whoa, hey, they're at home with you. Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay once again. These days, many families are busy but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast. I mean, we can see them, but I mean, you're there. I'll never forget when, and this goes to your point, Crawford, when I think, all right, so when COVID hit and the school we did a virtual, we finally got to come back like around October, if I'm not mistaken. So we get back, and I was teaching 6th grade at the time. One of the band students tested positive for COVID. So everyone who was in the band class had to go home, because if you're in band and you play a wind instrument and you're blowing that air out, right, that gets spread out. So they had to send the kids home. And so one of the kids was in my class, and they're like, you got to go. So, they called the parent, and I'll never forget this. The parents there, I'm like, yeah, he's got to go home. One of the kids tested positive in the band. And the parent looked at me and said, but who's going to watch my son? And that's the first moment that I was like, yo, I'm a well-trained babysitter. This man looking at me like I'm a well-trained babysitter. He legit was like, who gonna watch my son? I'm like, I don't know. You're the parents. Like, what do you want me to do? I just go where they tell me to go, man. They told me to let your kid out. But my man was like legit concerned. He was like, go watch my son. I was like, first of all, I'm not a baby watcher. I'm a teacher. All right. But yeah, that's definitely true. They say we got to keep our doors closed. And my classroom was like, I don't know what was going on. My classroom was like 70, 78 degrees or something like that. And if you got 50 kids between two classrooms, that's pretty hot. And so we're not supposed to open the doors because a lot of stuff, because of a lot of the things that have happened. But, I propped that door open, and I was standing by the door, and one of my students legit came to me and was like, hey, Mr. Shrunky, can we close that door? Because I don't want anyone to come in here and pop, pop, pop. Legit, just like it was nothing. And I'm just like, the fact that, I never worried about that when I was in the 5th grade. I never had that thought of like, oh, someone's going to come in here and do something. And my class was like, and it was like how can I describe it? It was like an auxiliary area. It wasn't even in the main part of the school. It was just like off to the side. But just the fact that she was like so aware to be like, close the door because I don't want anyone to come in here and do something. And I was just like, wow. So I definitely think that is something that's definitely key. I think that's definitely key. Very important thing to discuss, to go deeper into. And also this thing of learning and growth. Crawford, I actually want to get your input, because this is something that I feel like you're very passionate about. And I feel like this is something that separates like good from better to best, providing opportunities for learning and growth.
I first feel like the individual students So it comes to my mind, who is the audience for this part, the learning and growth, because I feel like when we are catering to the students have to first want that. Because even this information, what you guys do here with the Laddering Your Success, which is basically equipping students with the tools and the information necessary to be successful within their college career and other opportunities that might be out there, whether that's getting professional certificates and whatsoever. And what I've witnessed is when you guys came to my classroom to give this knowledge and information away for free, right? I'm sitting there looking at my students, just sitting here. I can just see it like they don't know what to do with this information. It's like it's useless to them, right? But only out of a class of 25, 3 of them soaking it in, asking questions. And right there, I'm like, see, that's difference, like what you said, from the people that is going to be just complacent and the people that are going to go further. And so that's why I say it kind of depends on the audience, because I know parents will love this information and they will push to instill it within their children and probably put them in those programs for learning opportunities and things of that nature. But I feel like the children have to really want it. I remember me and Mr. Hill, we had at A-Leaf at the school we worked. I believe you were there too. No, I think you were away. You had to take care of business or something. But it was this student, was not my student nor Mr. Hill's student at the time. It was a sibling of a former student. And the sister was like, hey, my brother needs help with this particular topic in math. So me and Mr. Hill are next to each other. And I said, okay, I can pull him in right now for free and just help him and tutor him during the night. The kid did not want it. And I say, I'm going to offer it one more time because I'm not going to force you to take advantage of this free help. So if you like it, I will help you. But if not, the choice is yours. He did not come and receive the help for free. So I am an advocate for the mentorship because I feel like our youth do need people to look up to provide knowledge and instill in them, positive interactions and positive role models. But at the same time, for them to benefit the best from it, I feel like they have to want it.
So that's definitely beautiful. That's a beautiful point about them wanting it. I think about parents and I think about, so if you look at the LYS parent guidebook, I think one of the most powerful parts in it is a portion that describes the different types of parents, right? So authoritative, authoritarian, non-present. I can't remember the last one, but it's like passive, right? To where you're just like, yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, you got it. Whatever you want, And I think about how that relates to kids wanting or kids having that incentive or that push to say, yeah, I need this. This is something that I need. And I think that was a big thing for us with LYS, where we were like, look, we can't keep going after the kid who doesn't want it. We were trying to reach the kid who doesn't want it. And it's like, we're giving you $1 million worth of game for free 99. And we're putting all our effort in, and their kids were just like, whatever. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes you have to, we hate this fact, but sometimes you have to lose a little for you to realize like, hey, like these folks were really giving me something that was like so beneficial. And so, it's kind of like Tendai said, a lot of this stuff starts at home. Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show because you know it's some good topics. So my thought, what I start thinking about is, are we asking our kids, are our parents asking our kids the right questions? And do we even understand our kids well enough to know what they respond to? Because I was the type of kid where, if you told me, I think for the most part, me and my brothers, if you told us like, you really need this, like, this is very, very important, like, we'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. It was probably one of us that would be like, you're doing this because I said so. So, you kind of have to change the message up for that one kid. But that's just one thing that I think about is like, how are we presenting this to students? And do they even, for those who don't care, like what's happening to them to make them not care? That's something that I always think about. Really, really good discussion there on that. All right, let's keep it going on to that next one. Continuously evaluate and improve. So keep an eye on the health and participation of kids in the neighborhood and make necessary improvements. Make sure the supplied resources, activities, and events are being evaluated and improved on a regular basis to make sure they are meeting the needs and interests of the kids. So continuously evaluating and improve. And I think that kind of goes back to, and let me know if you want me to put that back up there. That goes back to what we were talking about in the previous slide, right? Was like a lot of the kids don't even want this. So do we change the way we approach to get those kids who don't want? Or and this is one of those tough questions, is there accountability? Is there something that needs to happen more in home where we need to have these tough discussions with parents? I feel like that's the slippery slope with a lot of this stuff. And that's when people kind of get in their feelings, they get defensive.
I think if we establish a strong community within this context, the teacher and the parent being on the same page, as in what's the best interest for the student, then I think you'll get the best results for constantly evaluating and getting the child to improve and also meeting the child's needs. I feel like it becomes difficult to do that when the parent and the teacher might not be on the same page. And then a situation often happens where it becomes divisive. And so it almost becomes a barrier to help the child make improvements because everyone is working in isolation. You have the parent trying to do it their way, you have the teacher trying to do it that way, and the kid just kind of falls into the crack. So I think the best situation is when the parent and the teacher can both work together to meet the needs of the student. But in order to do that, we have to be willing to understand each other's perspective. Because yes, from the teacher side, we do have a certain perspective, but we also need to be understanding of what's going on at home that may affect the child's academic performance. And from the parent side, the parent has to be understanding of, whatever it is that the teacher may be having to go through and deal with on the campus level.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. I think you answered that perfectly. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it at that.
Well, I can speak independently though.
Go ahead, absolutely. Go ahead, Tendai. I've been waiting. I don't want to force your hand. Come on.
But I'll say, like you said, it goes back to community, right? And what the gentleman just said in terms of you've got to see the teacher as a partner in the community, because I know, I mean, just from what I've seen and some other parents I talk to, they come with an adversarial approach to that relationship.
Mm.
And that is not going to help the relationship at all. So, we need to see you as partners, because as a parent, I can tell my kid something 50 times and he doesn't want to hear it. But as soon as someone else says it to him, it's a profound teaching, and that's where you need to view your teacher as part of your community and as a partner, versus as someone who you need to manage and control. So anyway, that's just my opinion on it, my perspective. And that's where building community, you said in the beginning, that's part of it as well. Thanks.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. You definitely hit a nail on the head there. I think my first year, I had a very vested interest, and ever since then too, in the students, because you talk about community. There were only 2 districts that I wanted to work at when I became a teacher. It was either A-Leaf or Spring Branch, and that's because those are the 2 school districts that I went to, that I wanted to give back because I was so thankful for what they'd given me. And I wanted to make sure that whenever I did have a student, that I really tried to, I would tell all my boys, I'm your teacher in 6th grade. I want to go to your football games in 7th and 8th and 9th grade and on. Tell my girls, I want to go to your volleyball games. I want to go to your concerts or whatever have you. Keep the lines of communication open with me. So we can keep that, so we can keep that going. If you want to, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But I think there's a lot of power in seeing the growth for both, right? It's so cool when students are like, yeah, my brother had you, or my sister had you, right? And if you even get there to where like, my mom had you, that'd be crazy, right? If you're like, your mom had a teacher, then the child had the teacher too, like, you just like your mom. Like, that's someone who could really say that. Or you're just like your dad. I'm gonna write you up just like I wrote your dad up. Like, I think there's so much power in that. And, kind of like all these points we've talked about, these things just kind of flow or trickle down through them. But just like both of y'all said, there has to be that same end goal in mind, which is the student, right? Like, from the parent's perspective, it's, I care for this person came from me, this person lives with me. These are the things we're dealing with at home, right? For the teacher, it's, I'm giving this person the tools they need to be successful in life. I'm putting my heart and soul into this child. I'm seeing the way they process the world. I'm seeing their strengths. I'm seeing their weaknesses. And just like both of y'all said, like, you got to put those things together to help the child wholly. And what you said, Tendai, is definitely true. There are a lot of parents out there who automatically take that adversarial. I'm talking about even from what is it called? Not open house, meet the teacher. You get in there, meet the teacher. This is what we're not gonna do. My child is not. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to. And it's like, see, now you're gonna make me turn A-Leaf on you. I was nice. I didn't wear the tie and everything. I did the foreign hand knots. I didn't need to wear a tie. I was trying to be respectful. Now I got to take the tie off. Got to look like, what's old dude from Morgan Freeman in that movie? They used to call me Crazy Joe. Now they call me Batman. What's the East Side High? You know the movie. Lean on Me, right? You always take me there. But it's like, at the end of the day, I just want to help the, the teacher wants to help the student. The parent wants the child to succeed. So there has to be that understanding on both sides. Absolutely. Let me take a look here. We've got one more. So let's kill that. Let's take care of that last one. And then that'll be a great ending point for this week. That's awesome. We killed this in two sessions. It's awesome. Role modeling. This is huge. Role modeling. By treating others with respect, kindness, and honesty in their relationships, adults should serve as positive role models for children. If kids witness the adults around them modeling these good habits, they are more inclined to do the same. I'm gonna jump on this real quick, guys, because the most fun part of teaching is teaching with Crawford and Hill. Whenever I always pay attention to these things. Whenever we hang out and we are just talking and the kids are around, it just makes them feel safe. I feel like they just feel like a tad bit safer. That like, okay, the men around us are comfortable. So we can feel comfortable. I don't know if you ever feel that or notice that, Crawford, but that's just something that I really wanted to get out, because those little moments there for a lot of those kids, they don't get to see a lot of people who look like us just being comfortable in our own skin, just doing our own thing. And those little moments right there, those are seeds. Those are seeds that we're planting, and they turn into like amazing, awesome moments that we don't even realize at that time. So yeah, I just want to say that. So you guys can take that and run with it. I'm gonna share that screen again, just in case you want to get some more knowledge, some background on that.
Okay, so for me, this is a good one, and it's an internal conflict for me because I believe in treating people with respect and modeling the way that for the students, that treating others the way you would like to be treated. But unfortunately, in the particular area that I teach in, this is so unfortunate that the students, I'm going to say most of the students, not all, but the majority of the students do not know how to respond when someone is treating them with respect. And it makes me it makes me sad. It makes me so sad because I see teachers talking to these students really nice, hey man, you please do this. And they're they're talking to the kids with respect. And the kids just walk over them as if they're a fly on the wall. And it's so disheartening. And at that point, that's where I have to step in and be more stern with students that are not my students and things of that nature, to have these conversations with these students. And then immediately I'm treated with respect. And I'm like, you guys got it backwards. You have it all backwards. You don't respect. I shouldn't have to speak to you in a stern manner in order for you to hold value in what I'm saying. I should be able to come to you, hey young man, may you please do X, Y, and Z, or blah, 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 blah. And then, they could respond to that because you know what? I respect the fact that he asked me, or he said please, or he said thank you, or he said, may I, right? It's just so unfortunate because I'm trying to model those positive interactions that they may not see on the daily basis. But then at the same time, it's like, hold up. I, I can't keep asking you to do the same thing. You ain't gonna do it. So now I have to be the voice of inspiration in so many words for you to get what needs to be getting done. Because the reality of the situation is, unfortunately for our Black and brown students, if they're in a situation outside of these school walls, police officers with weapons might not ask nicely a second time or a third time. You know what I mean? So that's where the internal conflict for me is.
Tendai, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think, I'm from Zimbabwe, and in our culture, my sister, when I address her, I'll call her, and her name's Sharon. When we're at family gatherings, I call her Auntie Sharon. And the reason we do that is, if I call her Auntie Sharon, the kids are going to call her Auntie Sharon. So, we're always modeling to kids the right behavior. And yeah, it's a shame that, it's just one of the things that are common in this world, is that kindness and politeness are taken for signs of weakness, unfortunately. But I agree, as parents, as adults, we do need to be able to, we're always modeling the way for the younger generation. Yeah. So, thanks.
Absolutely, definitely. I think one of the things I wrote down is, and you brought up a really good point there, Crawford, was I wish we had like a first day assembly where all the kids have to come in and we just talk about how to function as a student, how to function as a kid. And this is where you talk about things like, I know a lot of you use your phone. Don't let the kids who do those funny things on their phones, don't let them get you in trouble. We're not doing that. Things like when an adult speaks to you, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, right? I think kind of like you, Tendai, my parents are Nigerian, so I saw this a lot. If I ever woke up in the morning and I just came downstairs and my parents were there and I did not say anything, I can't tell you how mad my mom would get. Like, it's a big thing, especially with kids, showing respect to the adults. And there's something that I've always noticed ever since I've been a teacher. It's very rare this happens, but when it does, I get surprised. Kids will walk past me, make full eye contact for, we'll make eye contact for a good 5 to 10 seconds. And I'll usually do something like this, like, for those of you who are hearing, I'm like making my eyes big and almost giving like a nod to be like, yes, are you going to say something? Because that's just the expectation that I've always grown up with, that young people acknowledge you first. And I think a lot of that kind of gets lost in translation with a lot of this, I can't call it new age. Crawford, you'll know it better than me, but a lot of these things that we have to do to create an open and welcoming environment and classroom. And there's certain things that my spirit can't really let go of, right? It's just ingrained in me. And one of the things I can't do is I can't go to some child and be like, hey, good morning. How are you? Like, I'll say hello, we're in the hallways in the morning, whatever. But like, if it's the middle of the day and you're walking past me and you're looking at me and you're just staring at me and you can't say at least hi, I don't know. When we talk about community, these are the things that I think about. And so, we don't have enough time about it, but I just want to at least put it out there in the air. It makes me think about a lot of our single parent homes, a lot of our homes, especially where there's no father, and how not having that male presence affects us. Because I especially notice it with a lot of my young male students. And so that's, just food for thought there. All right, folks, we're a little bit over schedule, but I think we tied a knot on this one. I think we did a really great, really, really good feedback there. Really, really good conversations there with a lot of that stuff. So thank you so much to Tendai. Thank you so much to DeMarc Crawford for joining us always. Soon to be doctor. I claim it. I claim it for you. Soon to be doctor. So with that being said, let's go ahead and real quick, we can go over how to get back in contact with us, how to get in contact with us. On Instagram, LYS Students, _LYS, that's on Instagram. On Facebook, Laddering Your Success. On YouTube, just type in Laddering Your Success into the search bar. On TikTok, LYS Do. If you would like to get in contact with us for a one-on-one session, for us to come talk to your school, your youth group, your church group, young adult group, info@ladderingyoursuccess.com. On Discord, just type in Laddering Your Success into that search bar. And if you love what we're doing, if you want to support us, if you want to see us continue to grow, if you want to continue to see our endeavors and our plans, we have our first cohort, that's going to be rolling out this year. If you want to help us in supporting that, on Cash App, $ Laddering Your Success. All right, folks, my name is Olay Sharanki here in for Festus and Olay, remember, there are legitimate reasons to not going to college. There are no legitimate excuses for not getting an education. Folks, this has been another session of LYS Free Student Mentoring. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Y'all take care now. Be blessed.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS podcast.